Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a horror drama movie called Helter Skelter. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie begins by introducing a woman named Liliko, who is one of the top models in Japan. Her real name and background are unknown, but her stunning beauty has landed her on the covers of numerous fashion magazines and commercials. The entire nation envies her, and all teenage girls aspire to look like her. However, they are unaware that she has undergone extensive cosmetic surgery to change her entire appearance. In another scene, we see a detective named Asada and his assistant in his office. They are currently investigating a beauty clinic that has been involved in several illegal activities, including tax evasion and child organ trafficking. Asada then discovers that Liliko is also linked to the clinic and decides to look into her. His assistant comments on Liliko's flawless appearance, but Asada points out the misalignment between her muscles and skin. He states that while she appears perfect on the outside, she has been consumed internally by bugs, much like rotting fruit. Elsewhere, we see Liliko at a press conference where she announces her movie debut. She acts all nice and sweet with her female co-star in front of the cameras, but later, in the dressing room, she reveals her true colors and becomes enraged, saying the other girl stole her spotlight. She then vents her rage on her assistant Michiko and spits a mouthful of water at the poor woman. Moments later, Liliko is visited by her boyfriend Nanbu, who turns out to be the heir of a wealthy family. The two begin passionately making out in the dressing room, with no regard for others. Yeah, if they cared about others, they'd put this on the internet. Seeing this, the staff members become uncomfortable and exit the room. In the evening, we see Liliko getting intimate with the producer of the movie she's working on. After they finish, she asks him to persuade the director to give her more roles, and he agrees. Liliko then returns home and calls her manager Hiroko, whom she addresses as Mama. She mentions that she took her advice and slept with the producer, which makes Hiroko happy. Later, while Liliko is admiring her beauty in the mirror, she notices a black bruise on her forehead. This prompts her to scream like a psycho. The next day, Liliko's makeup artist visits Hiroko and informs her about the bruises. The woman responds that most of Liliko's body has been surgically altered, and the bruises are simply side effects of that. Upon hearing this, the makeup artist is shocked, so Hiroko gives them a large ruby ring as a bribe. She then requests that he keep Liliko's situation confidential and take care of her. Later, the Japanese Kim Kardashian heads to the beauty clinic to discuss her situation. The doctor assures her not to be worried about the bruises and says they can perform another corrective surgery. At this moment, Liliko hears a woman screaming in the distance, who is being restrained by several nurses. She notices that the woman is covered in dark bruises on most of her body and is accusing the clinic of her condition. This scares Liliko, and she's initially skeptical of undergoing another surgery, but then she realizes that she has no choice, as she must look flawless for her job. Elsewhere, Detective Asada and his team learn about the mysterious death of a model. They suspect her death was caused by the same beauty clinic's negligence. Asada informs his coworker that the woman's ex-husband works as a doctor at the clinic, which illegally harvests organs, skin, holographic first edition Charizards, and muscle for cosmetic purposes. It turns out that the clients need to undergo procedures regularly and take expensive medications to maintain their appearance. Many of the clinic's patients are unable to pay the fees and suffer severe side effects. As a result, they become depressed and eventually unalive themselves. The next day, Liliko undergoes another surgery, which finally eliminates the bruises. She appears in front of the camera again, looking flawless and beautiful. In the following days, her popularity grows and she appears on an increasing number of magazine covers, television shows, and interviews. Her face is displayed on billboards all over town, making it impossible to go anywhere without seeing her image. Liliko even receives offers from Hollywood, but as her career progresses, her arrogance also continues to grow. One evening, a drunk Liliko arrives home with Michiko and begins to remove her makeup. She is then shocked to notice several bruises on her face that seem to be larger than before. She touches her face and continues to laugh and cry at the same time, like a mad woman. Liliko shouts that if she loses her beauty, no one will love or remember her. Seeing this, her assistant rushes to comfort her, and Liliko asks if she finds her attractive. When Michiko says yes, Liliko gives her a passionate kiss and asks her to please her. The woman is reluctant at first, but she eventually gives in and proceeds to satisfy her boss by showing her pictures of herself. The following day, a high school student named Chikako arrives at the agency looking for Liliko. She turns out to be Liliko's sister and wishes to meet her, but Hiroko turns her away. In the evening, Liliko returns to her apartment to find a letter from her sister, who informs her that she is in the same city on a school trip. Chikako claims that she went to the agency earlier, but the manager refused to let her see Liliko and didn't even give her a phone number. The next day, Liliko and her assistant set out to meet Chikako on the outskirts of the city. The sisters are overjoyed to see each other after a long time. Chikako praises Liliko's success in her new film, but the latter admits she's considering quitting acting because she's not good at it. She then advises her sister to lose some weight and improve her appearance. Liliko even offers to pay for the surgery, but Chikako refuses, claiming she is not as strong as her sister. Later, our heroine returns to her agency and asks Hiroko if she's been sending money to her family. Hiroko confirms this, but Liliko claims that her sister hasn't received any money from her side. This enrages Hiroko, and she begins scolding Liliko for doubting her, when she is the one who created her and brought her to stardom. Hiroko then admits that she has not been able to send as much money because maintaining Liliko's beauty and lifestyle is too expensive. Following this, she introduces Liliko to another model named Kozue, who is only 18 years old. Liliko and Kozue soon begin collaborating on several commercials and magazine shoots. The young model has never had any plastic surgery and is naturally beautiful, which makes Liliko increasingly jealous. In the following days, Kozue's popularity skyrockets, and she quickly becomes a top model at the agency. As a result, Liliko becomes worried about her status, and her mental health deteriorates. This prompts her to revert to drugs and alcohol. To make matters worse, news spreads throughout the city that Nanbu is engaged to the daughter of a prominent politician. When Liliko learns of this, she becomes upset and calls Nanbu to confront him. The man claims that this marriage is simply a formality for his family and that he still loves Liliko. He assures her that the marriage will not affect their relationship, but she gets enraged and hangs up. One evening, Liliko unexpectedly shows up at Michiko's house and meets her boyfriend Shin. After a brief introduction, she compliments his good looks and kisses him out of nowhere. She then starts making out with him, and Shin doesn't hold back either, as being with such a beautiful woman feels like a dream come true for him. Meanwhile, Michiko sits in the corner and bursts into tears as she watches the two make love. Shin even busts in a couple seconds, and it becomes even sadder. The next day, Liliko orders the couple to attack Nanbu's fiancée and seriously injure her face. The two are scared to refuse her, so they reluctantly carry out the plan. Shin later confronts the woman on a quiet road and pours sulfuric acid on her face. Before anyone can see him, he quickly jumps into a van with Michiko and drives away. When the couple returns to Liliko, she is pleased with their work, but threatens to report them to the authorities. However, she soon starts laughing and says she was kidding. After that, Liliko forces the couple to make love in front of her. The two are reluctant at first, but they eventually agree and begin getting intimate happily. Seeing them so content, Liliko feels frustrated and wonders why they don't reach their breaking point after everything she did to them. The following day, Liliko is getting ready with her makeup artist when he notices a few bruises on her back. He doesn't say anything to her, but later discusses the situation with Hiroko. He also mentions that her skin appears to be very old and lacks elasticity. Hearing this, Hiroko doesn't seem too worried and states that this might be the end of Liliko's career. Days later, as several other cases of dead women begin to rise, Asada realizes it's time to confront Liliko. He then approaches her at an aquarium and informs her of the illegal organ trafficking that occurs at the beauty clinic she frequently visits. The clinic has the backing of politicians and other powerful figures, making it nearly impossible to win a trial without a major blow. Asada then requests that she testify against the clinic in court and expose their fraud. But Liliko denies having any surgery and refuses to help him. This annoys Asada so much that he reverts to blackmailing. He reveals that he knows she is responsible for the acid attack on Nanbu's fiancée. He then hands her some documents and walks out of there. Upon returning home, Liliko opens the documents, which expose the shady dealings of the clinic. She also finds old pictures of herself from before the surgery, when she used to be chubby and unattractive. Liliko begins to freak out and worries that her secret might be exposed. This causes her to have a panic attack, and she injects some drugs to calm herself down. The next morning, she sees Kozue in a commercial and becomes enraged. She then summons Michiko and orders her to attack and disfigure Kozue Kozue so that she can no longer work. In the next scene, Liliko arrives at a TV show and injects herself with drugs in the bathroom before heading to the stage. It turns out to be her birthday, so the showrunners surprise her with a cake and start singing for her. However, Liliko becomes high from the drugs and begins hallucinating, seeing butterflies everywhere. This makes her extremely agitated, and she tries to get rid of the butterflies, but to no avail. She begins acting increasingly erratic and smashes the birthday cake on the floor before collapsing unconscious. Meanwhile, Kozue is having fun at an amusement park when Michiko begins to follow her. They soon arrive at an isolated spot where the woman timidly points a cutter knife at the model. However, Kozue understands what's happening and shows no fear. She explains that models are merely machines of human desire and that everything, including her beauty and popularity, will fade over time. She casually tells Michiko to go ahead and finish her job, but the latter reflects on the monster she has become. She then breaks down in tears and chooses not to proceed with the attack. In the evening, Liliko is at home, still hallucinating and losing her mind. When Michiko arrives to care for her, Liliko discovers that she didn't attack Kozue. This infuriates her and she violently slaps and assaults her assistant. Unable to stay still any longer, Liliko frantically runs outside into the rain. Even then, vivid memories of her glorious days continue to flood her mind, causing her to become increasingly unhinged. Meanwhile, while cleaning up the messy house, Michiko comes across photos and documents from before Liliko's plastic surgeries. She also discovers information about the clinic's illegal activities, which leaves her in shock. Michiko then decides to expose the clinic's fraud and sends all of the documents to a major tabloid magazine. The following day, the news spreads quickly, causing a nationwide uproar. The clinic's wrongdoings are widely reported, and Liliko's secret becomes public, causing major problems for her and her agency. News reporters swarm her house, demanding explanations, which puts her in a difficult situation. At the same time, Asada is suspected of leaking information about the clinic and is suspended from his job. However, he doesn't seem to mind, as this was part of his plan all along. The detective knew that taking direct action would not be enough to close the clinic, which was supported by powerful people. He believed that if Liliko's plastic surgery became public, people would definitely pay attention due to her popularity. Just as Asada had anticipated, the clinic is now facing widespread outrage across Japan for its unethical practices. Several days later, Liliko holds a press conference in an attempt to resolve the situation. Hiroko gives her a written speech from a lawyer and advises her not to say anything more than what is written. As Liliko gets ready, we notice that her bruises have worsened and appear in various places on her body. However, she covers them up with makeup and soon arrives on stage. Amidst the flashing cameras of the media, Liliko becomes nervous and speechless. She then abruptly stabs herself in the eye in front of everyone and collapses on the floor. The cameras continue to click, and moments later, Liliko mysteriously disappears from the public eye. The scene then cuts to a few months later, when some time has passed since the incident and the world has turned its attention to new topics. Detective Asada and his assistant are walking down the street when they are approached by a pretty girl. She thanks Asada for everything and invites him to visit her if he wishes. After she leaves, the assistant asks Asada who she was, and he reveals it was Chikako. It turns out she took her sister's advice after all and decided to undergo plastic surgery. Asada then adds that the trial against the clinic is still ongoing, with 126 patients having filed lawsuits, 9 of whom have taken their own lives, while Liliko remains missing. In the final scene, we see Kozue still thriving as a model, and she is currently abroad for a shoot. After wrapping up, she and her team go to a freak show to celebrate and have fun. While enjoying herself, she notices a woman in the distance who looks exactly like Michiko. A curious Kozue follows her until she reaches a VIP area where a woman is sitting on a throne in front of a mirror. When the woman turns around, Kozue is shocked to see Liliko, who is wearing an eye patch and smiling. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.